Hello, today we're going to change the weight on the scooter, 150cc. I'm going to change my weight to 10 milligram rollers for the weight for the variator. Okay, the 10 milligram variator rollers, they will give you slightly more pickup speed from 0 to 60. You will get there faster. Okay, so let's see what you're going to need. You're going to remove this crankcase on the left side of your scooter. To remove the crankcase, you have to remove a lot of little bolts. You know, when you remove those bolts, you will have to use a key that is a socket wrench. You can use the driller. Socket wrench is 5/6 socket wrench right here. You have to remove all those bolts that are around the crankcase and put them on the side. Make sure you put them in the way that you're going to remember where all those bolts is going to go later, because later you have to put them back. First you have to open the crankcase, and then later you have to close it. So make sure all the things that you're going to use and all the things that you're going to take away from this crankcase, you're going to put it back the same way. Very important. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the kickstart. So to remove the kickstart, you're going to need a 10 millimeter socket. Make sure you remove the bolt from the kickstart all the way. If not, the kickstart arm is not going to be removed. Okay? After you remove your kickstart, you can start to remove all those bolts that are right here on the crankcase. Okay? The key to remove all the screws is 5/6. Is a socket wrench 5/6. That's what you're going to need. Now make sure you're going to place all those screws in a way that you're going to remember where they're going to go, because a lot of the screws are longer and few of them they're shorter. So place them in the location where you're going to remember where those screws going to go. So you can just pull it out and place it maybe top of here, or in a way that you're going to remember. You can place it on the floor if you wish, and you're going to place them in a way that you're going to remember where they're gonna go later. See, you can place all the screws on the floor and place them like on the top part of the crankcase. You can place all the screws, and the lower part you do another line where you're gonna place all the screws from the lower part of the crankcase. At this point, you remove all the screws. You can start to remove the crankcase. Gently remove the crankcase, wiggle a little bit. Now make sure right after you remove the crankcase cover, that's where you're going to see. You're going to see the clutch in the back, and you're going to see the variator on the front, and the belt that connects both of them. Okay? So try to see if you see any damage to your belt drive. Make sure there is no any damage to your belt. You can see some debris, that's for sure, around the belt. That's when it goes around. gonna lose some debris, some black powder everywhere, but that's okay, it's not a big deal. So you're going to need and the 11/16 socket wrench to remove the variator. Okay, 11/16, that's what you're going to need to remove the variator. But most important, what you're going to need is an impact wrench. Impact wrench. Here we are, that's an impact wrench right here. That's what you're going to need to remove the variator. Because the problem is when you try to unscrew the variator, you're going to have a little problem because everything's going to turn. So you're going to need an impact wrench to remove the variator. Okay, this kind of impact wrench, they're quite cheap. You can buy it online for $15, $20, but they really work okay. You just connect it to your battery or the battery of your car, and they're very useful. Okay, so what you're going to do now, you're going to remove the bolt from the variator. Okay, okay, right after we lose a little bit the bolt right here with the impact wrench, we can do it manually. We can unscrew this bolt by hand. By hand is always a lot better because you can feel if you have a little resistance from the bolt, so you make sure you don't break nothing. Okay, right after you remove the bolt, that's the bolt right here for the variator. There's a little spacer right here. Make sure you don't lose this spacer because you're going to put it back. So make sure it stays with the fan of the variator. That's the fan of the variator right here. Okay? At this point you can remove the belt. The belt is right here. You can remove the belt just slightly. You don't need to remove the whole belt. And right here we have the assembly of the variator. That's the assembly of the variator. That's where you get the weight underneath of the belt. Okay? So let's open this one. Now make sure you're going to place everything the way everything was. Okay? Right here you have all the weight rollers. Those are the weight rollers of the variator right here. Now, see, it's slightly dirty because the rollers are going up and down all the time to open up the variator. Okay? What we're gonna do, we're gonna change all those rollers for 10 grams weight. So you're going to have a better start-up speed. Also, it's a lot better if you go up to hills or if you have a lot of weight on your scooter, like 2 passenger, or if you have, a large driver, okay? So you can change those weights and put 10 grams weight. Right here I have the 10 gram weight to change for the variator. What we are going to do, we are going to remove these weights from the variator. The weights are 6 weights inside the variators. Okay? What we're gonna do, we're gonna place the new weights that are going to go inside the variator. Okay? Now make sure when you check the variator, when you change the weights, you don't have any damage in your variator belt right here. Like these ones, make sure they're not damaged in any kind of way. sometimes they scratch up and down because the variator open up and close all the time. So sometimes they get wear right here. Okay, so if they're see that they might break, you have to change your variator. Okay, the variator, they're not too expensive. Just go online for 30, 40, 50 bucks. You can find the variator with the weights and everything else coming with it. Okay, weights, slider, belt, everything. Right after we change those weights, we can close the belt. Okay, make sure you don't lose any parts. These ones right here, they're called sliders. The sliders, they're going right here in the belt variator. See, that's the variator right here. Make sure everything looks good. Try to clean a little bit if you can. So if it's nice and clean, it's a lot better. And you can place it back where you get it, right there inside the variator spot. Now this is a spacer. This spacer goes inside here. Okay, now we can place it back right there gently. Right after you place the belt variator with all the weight inside and the sliders, you can start to place the belt again that goes around. After the belt, you can put the variator fan back in there. Now if the belt doesn't go inside right away, just squeeze the back part clutch slightly so you can have more room for your belt to go back in the variator. Now you can replace the bolt that you just took away a little bit ago. You start to tie the bolt until you can. At this point you can use the socket wrench that is 11/16 to tight the variator. Try to give a little spin to the belt to make sure everything is aligned the right way, okay? At this point you can use your impact wrench so you can tighten a little more the nut on the variator. The variator doesn't need to be over tight because it might break the nut or it might break the shaft, so be careful to don't tighten it too much. Okay, right after you replace the variator and the weight, you can put the cover back for the crankcase, okay? When you go in with the cover of the crankcase, Go first with the left side and the right side of the crankcase up, and then you turn it. Now make sure the kickstart pole is gonna match with the kickstart pole right in the center. Okay, right after you place it, gently push her in. Make sure all the holes are matching. Now remember, the screw, you're going to need a socket wrench that is a 5/16 socket wrench. Now be gentle and be careful now when you tighten the crankcase again, because the crankcase and the screws and the place where they attach is fragile. So being fragile, be careful. You don't want to break your crankcase. Now, place the screw one at a time. Do not place all the screw at a time and tighten them right away. Place the screw, give them a few turns, slightly, they have to go inside slightly. After you place all the screw back in your crankcase, you can replace your kickstart, put it back where it was. The socket key for your kickstart arm is 10mm. Make sure you tighten your kickstart arm enough to make sure it's not gonna go anywhere when you ride. But do not over tighten it, because it might break. Okay. We just changed the weight for your variator to make sure you will get a little more speed to start up with your scooter, and I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day.